Everyone, mark your calendars. The BDO retreat is back for its 5th and final year, and we're taking you to sunny Key Largo, Florida on January 16th and 17th. This is not some typical stuffy conference. I'm talking real strategy, real takeaways, and real conversation and growth with the best in the biz. We're talking game-changing workshops, killer conversations over dinner, and sunsets that'll make you even forget you're on a work trip. Spots are limited. Tap the link in the show notes to register now.
Warning. The views and opinions expressed in this program are our own and/or those of our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of our employers. Viewers' discretion is advised.
It's a highly competitive market right now. We already talked about, brokers are trying to get more fee, probably because they have less deals.
I mean, it's simple math. I actually do the math for them. So we could give you this because the rate is this, and this is how much we make, this is how much you make.
On a deal where it gets super competitive, I just give up. I just go somewhere else. I have way too many deals.
Really?
No, this actually works. It's almost like reverse psychology because, hey, you know what? I've got this many number of deals in my pipeline where I don't need it. Just go somewhere. I don't need the headache.
Can you clean your lens at least? Jeez, what's going on here?
I know, it's pretty.
It's a signal, dude. It's a little. Gosh, I need it. You know what? I gotta start recording somewhere else. Is there a recording studio I can go to for this, dude? Is that better?
Dude, just buy a camera.
You could just get a camera and use your computer like everybody else.
Bro.
Oh, is that what you guys are doing? I just use my phone, dude.
Yes.
You don't see a difference? One of these kids is doing their own thing. Can you tell the difference?
That should be the topic right there, dude. Everyone who wants to be on a podcast should buy a camera from now on, dude.
Yeah. Well, also we're gonna talk about your birthday because apparently it was your birthday, according to the sign in the back.
That's every day's my birthday, man.
Oh no, I think it said happy birthday or I thought it said 100 million at one point.
Yeah, that too. It's on there. It's at the bottom. You can't see it. See it?
Are you gonna do 100 million this year?
I don't know. I hope so. I think so.
Do you want to?
Yeah, so you can keep popping bottles, but I don't know.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the BDO Show, a podcast for passionate BDOs wanting to level up their game with advice and stories from battle-tested BDOs. I'm your host, Emily Detor, and I am here with my fellow co-host guests today. We have Daniel Park, Andrew Chong, and John Chung with us today. At the beginning of each episode, we're always going to remind you to like, subscribe, and do not forget to check out our whole family of shows, which is SBA Today, which airs live every week on LinkedIn, as well as our flagship program, the Art of SBA Lending Podcast. BDOs. Have you ever had a borrower bring in a brother-in-law to do their life insurance? Doesn't end well, does it? We've all been there. When you require life insurance on your SBA loan, it's critical that you bring in a company that specializes in getting these policies in place for the SBA loans. The last thing you want is for life insurance to be the holdup. We all know that's a rookie mistake. SBA Protection Quick Close Life Insurance is the fastest, easiest way to secure the insurance protection that your borrower needs for their SBA loan. Their process is simple, hassle-free, and only takes a few minutes of your borrower's time. No lengthy paperwork, no complicated forms. They even have programs that don't require labs or doctor records for approval. And best of all, you will have the collateral assignment back in less than 24 hours. It's a no-brainer. Go to sbaprotection.com for more information or email Adam Bergen at adam@sbaprotection.com. Okay, so today, as I mentioned, we do have 3 guests, one returning, Daniel Park. We know him very well. Now, do you 3 find yourself working together, sending deals back and forth to each other, or interacting in any way?
Yes.
Yeah, we talk.
Ha.
We talk.
Yeah, we talk. Andrew, I used to work at Hanmi Bank as a commercial
Okay.
banker, so I knew Andrew through there. Daniel's a legend, right? Everyone knows Daniel. So at my last institution,
Just in time.
Hey, those things work, by the way, and so do emojis, by the way.
You do. And you need to patent the just in time because nobody else can use it now.
Let's start
Nobody
making
else can.
t-shirts.
Yeah.
Wait, I think Ray did make me a t-shirt last time, right?
The last bank I was at was a pretty conservative bank, and I started a secondary market program, which is kind of my old GE days, where we could send out transactions to other institutions and at least get some fee income, kind of split it with the BDO and the bank. Obviously, I didn't want to, the bank's got to be the first choice on the lending side of things, but if we passed and we're doing the transaction something that just we wouldn't do. I've sent deals to Daniel before. I think
Yeah.
all of us, right? I'd rather refer a deal to, if I'm going to lose it, I'd rather refer a deal to Andrew or Daniel because I know them, right? At least I know they're going to get it done, right? Rather than just random person that you don't know what's going to happen.
Right. I kind of wanted to get into this with you guys, and I'll lean on Andrew here for a little bit for this question. We wanted to talk about the science behind winning a deal. We do have a lot of new BDOs and, veteran BDOs listening, but Andrew, where does your head go with that when you think about winning a deal and like kind of the science behind it?
Well, I mean, nowadays the competition kind of drives you down on pricing and all that. I mean, we all see it every day. My approach, as always, it's been for the last 20 years or so, is somewhat similar to what Daniel does. Is that when there's a deal and people ask me, "Hey, what do you think about this deal?" So I'd like to be more of a consultant. A lot of times, what I do is I go visit it. It's a restaurant. I go eat there, see what it tastes like.
Mm.
See what the vibe is, what the neighborhood is. Things like that. I mean, the tax returns, documents, business description is always there. That's same thing for everyone, right? So I think that sometimes convinces borrowers or the brokers or whoever's referring to deals, be comfortable. This guy really wants to do this deal. He's really involved. I get involved in all aspects of the deal, with whatever, it is per deal is my knowledge about that industry, or, if I could give guidance, I do that up front.
So definitely perspective on the business, guidance up front. I mean, I know a lot of we underwrite these deals with papers, but you're saying you kind of want to immerse yourself in with your borrowers and like really get a feel for who they are and what their goals are. So that's awesome. What about you, Daniel? What is your science behind it?
For me, just credibility and execution. That's what it comes down to. I know that my pricing is going to be always the greatest, and I'm not going to get caught up in that old pricing war, rebate war, what have you. But at the end of the day, you just kind of have to deliver and execute. That's the way I look at it, right? And that's really my selling point. Look, if I'm going to look at this package, I'm going to get you an LOI, I'm going to deliver. That's basically what it comes down to at the end of the day, at least for me.
How about rate? Does that pricing truly drive a borrower's decision?
Yes and no. If we're talking about a loan that's $1 million, no, not really, right? But if we're talking a loan of like 5 million bucks, that quarter of a point does make a pretty big difference, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and I admit I did lose some deals based on the structure and the pricing, right? Like I've lost a deal where, it's a purchase and they're putting in 5%. I can't do that here at prime plus one. That's not me. So my thinking and my philosophy is, you know what? It was never my deal to begin with if that's the case. So I just move on.
Right.
All right.
What
Yeah.
about you, Andrew? How does rate affect everything?
It does affect it, especially in a very close knit community that I compete in. Basically, I think we're coming into a consensus where, you find that happy medium where you're at a comfort level. We could do this for you for sure. And present that clearly. So like Daniel said, we can't do prime minus half or, whatever, and then, but, we can deliver on speed if necessary. I just give them heads up front. Hey, you could give me the financials by this date. Give me everything else by this date, and then we can finish by this date, and we will deliver on that. But I mean, you know how deals typically are. They want to finish 30 days. Escrow says 30 days, and nobody's ready in 30 days. So if we promise a timeline, then we try to keep it. We try to
Mm.
push the accountants, whoever, that are, or the appraisers, whoever, you know, to try to meet that deadline. And once people see that, then they'll come back to you because they know that you're actually right there, at the front of the deal, not at the end of the deal.
Right, where everybody just gets paid. And then speaking of
Mm.
paid, I was going to ask about referral fees. And do you guys think referral becoming a little bit too fee driven?
Yeah. I mean, Andrew, you can start.
From the bank's point of view, if I may say that, I mean, it has to make sense. you can't ask for a very, very marginal low rate. We know what the secondary market is, right? And then ask for a 2% referral fee. I mean, that's just not going to work, right? Somebody has to make some money somewhere. That's why I actually tell people that refer me loans, hey, can you do this 10-year money prime plus one and give me 2%? I mean, it's just not possible, right? I mean, it's simple math. I actually do the math for them. So we could give you this because the rate is this, and this is how much we make. This is how much you make. I actually give them the straight math and just show it to them. And so, they're usually reasonable, and if the rate needs to be lower, we'll adjust accordingly. I don't know
Right.
exactly how you do things there out there, but
Brokers, they want the best of both worlds. They want the lowest rate and the highest rebate, and can you close, right? So that's basically what they go after, right? So the new brokers that I come across, they do ask about referral fees, right? That's like one of the first questions, right? After they ask what's my pricing, right? But the guys that's been with me for a while, they know that, hey, this is what I'm going to pay you, but I'll get it done, right? So you've got the ones that's been around, that's been with me for a while. They expect, hey, well, I'm gonna get this such and such amount, based on this pricing, and they already know that about my bank, right? So the whole referral fee or what the pricing will be, that's never an issue. It's never brought up to me because they're already kind of used to that, right? And they know that deal will get done, right? But then the new guys that I meet, yeah, one of the first questions, hey, what is your rate? What do you pay out, right? So and at the end of the day, I mean, money talks. So yeah, I've lost brokers that way where, they're gonna go after bank B over here because they're paying an extra quarter of a point on a loan for $1 million. We're talking about $2,500, right? But people will do that. So it all just depends on who you're talking to, really, right? So if you got
Yeah.
yeah, guys, I want to just get the deal done and take a quarter of a point. Yeah, I'll give you an example. Perfect example. I've got a guy that's been with me for about 3 years now, right? And he told me, "Hey, you actually pay a quarter point less than this other bank that I deal with. However, I know that you'll get my deal done here, so I'm willing to forego that quarter of a point to make sure the deal gets
Yep.
delivered here." So I've heard that
That's
before,
common.
right?
They'd
Yeah,
rather work with
right.
somebody that like they trust and
E-
know than take the
exactly. Southwest,
which
baby.
is
That's right.
Southwest. We'll get you there. You will get there. I do have to re-ask the question though, because I think I double overed it, but we were asking the question, do you guys think that the referral sources are becoming a little bit too fee driven?
Absolutely. I think a lot of the referral sources, they may have fewer deals, so they think they need to get paid more because they have fewer deals.
Ooh,
That's what
that's
I'm
a good
finding a
point.
lot. Yeah, I think they're like, hey, and I have one broker, and he's like, hey, I need a point and a half, I need a
Mm.
point three quarters. I'm like, look, here's the thing. If you can
You'll get
sell,
what we give you and you'll like it. I was kidding.
if you can sell like on a real estate deal, prime plus 275 all day long on a deal where the bar may be able to get other sources of financing, and yeah, I'll pay you that, but you're probably not going to be able to. So
Mm.
goes back to, would you rather have a little bit of something, 100% of nothing, right? Because if they're trying to get that fee and the lender is going to give the pricing correspondent with that fee, then it's not a match, right? It's just not going to happen. I'm finding those brokers doing it all the time, and usually they're not the good brokers, because usually the
Mhm.
good brokers are more volume driven, right? So they're kind of like, yeah, I'll take a point because they've got 20 other deals, right, that they're sending out. I think it's the ones that aren't usually as good that are trying to get more fee, and I usually just don't waste my time. I said, you should just go elsewhere, probably,
Yeah,
because we
dude.
all got
My,
to be
my
efficient.
my brokers all come from a world of abundance where, they don't care about a quarter of a point, you know? Like you
Yeah,
said, you got the guys that are got, onesie, twosie guys that are just barely scraping by. I think those are the ones that are asking for, just something ridiculous, right? And truth be told, for the most part, all these guys that I'm paying probably make more than what I make per deal, right?
for
I mean,
sure.
let's put it
Yeah.
out there, right? I mean,
yeah.
but I make it up in volume, right? So
Yep.
just simple math.
Well, I'm sure
right?
you get a fat salary, so I'm not sure if that's 100%
Hey,
true,
hey,
but
hey, hey, no. Look at my phone. That should tell.
you
You look at my
get
We
setup.
drop
benefits, you get a lot of things.
I am not in the
we
studio. I'm
dropped
in
a
my office.
W2 in a we dropped a W2 in a group chat one time and one time only. It'll never happen again. Daniel might have been in on that group chat on accident. Hey guys, we have a special announcement for anybody involved in M&A transactions. Our partner, Peak Business Valuation, have put together a resource just for BDO Show listeners, and they're giving it away for free. It lists out the rule of thumb formulas, or as Krogi would like to say, the down and dirty, for some of the most common industries that SBA lenders finance. I promise you it's going to come in handy. Krogi's literally still using the one he got from Nagel in 2002. By the way, if you're not thinking about evaluation at the pre-screen phase, you are missing the boat. A lot of BDOs tend to focus on the debt service coverage and they're missing the valuation completely. That's a rookie move and it will become a problem. As a consultative BDO, you should have a sense of whether the business is going to value out. And Peak's handy dandy rule of thumb is here to help. Go to peakbizval.com/BDO show to get yours today. Let's get into next how you translate lender strengths into borrower language. How can we avoid sounding just like, another banker? And how can we build relationships with
Oh, that's
referral
good.
sources?
Okay.
And yeah, let's get into that.
Okay.
Go Daniel, go.
So I talk in layman's term. I just talk like you're my buddy. Yeah. I don't use any, very, you know, terms that a normal average Joe wouldn't understand. So it's just basically like, hey, this is what's happening with your loan. The underwriter is asking, why did your numbers go down, right? I mean, what happened? So I try really hard to simplify some of these questions and concerns that they may have, or some of the feedback that I get from them. So that way, it's almost like I'm talking to a friend, right? I try to simplify the way I speak to them, and try to just translate in a way where they be understand, right? I'm literally talking like I'm a a high school kid, right? That type of language, I guess, if you will. If that makes any sense.
What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm familiar with what Daniel does because sometimes I'm with him, and I'm like,
By the
who are you
way,
talking
he's my
to?
neighbor. By the way.
It's my borrower. I'm like, what? I don't talk to my borrowers that way. So
So is that your buddy or your borrower? Oh, that's my broker and my borrower.
my approach is more where I try to really get them to understand. I mean, not quite what Daniel does, but like borrower might get dragged by the not I don't want to say drag, but wants to buy something because it makes this amount of money, but they don't understand the business, or they don't understand some of the the structure that we talked about. How much should be the business portion, how much should be the real estate, what you really need to think about in terms of operating that special type of business, like car wash, or if they have limited experience. So I get in there and I literally talk to them for an hour and give them all types of insights that I've gathered over my 30 years in banking and lending, and try to educate them a little bit more if they don't seem so savvy. A lot of times, sometimes I see restaurant owners that they were the chef, but they don't really yet know how to run a business. So try to give them insights, things like that. Whatever I can contribute to the project.
Yeah, so I hear Andrew talk too. Yeah, because we do carpool quite a bit on a lot of these venues that we go together, and he comes more of a as a consultant, right? Where he's been in the game for a very long time, so he kind of gives that type of an approach. My approach is more like, hey, I'm your buddy, right? I'm your friend. This is what we're gonna do. And that's kind of like how we're a little bit different, but it works for us, right? That's just how I communicate. That's just the way he talks to his people. Yeah, complete two different ways, but they both work.
Do you guys have any like crazy stories where it took like, effective communication, or like something was about to blow up, but you sort of saved the day with a deal?
That's every day, Emily.
Yeah, literally.
It's not just one day.
It is.
It's
No, that's every
365
day.
days a year.
Yeah.
I will tell you, you can only do so much. Saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink, right? So oftentimes I'll see I'll send out LOI, and I'll have the borrower will send me the other LOIs, right, which they shouldn't do, but they do, right? And I compare it all. I'm like, look, I've got honestly the best deal. If I didn't, I would tell you, just because I have no time to lie to you on this kind of stuff. And they play, hey, another quarter point. Hey, why don't you waive the SBA fees? I mean, they try everything, right? A lot of borrowers will do that. And finally, I'll put my foot down and say, hey, look, if I don't get your answer by Friday, I'm just going to pull this deal, because I think we're not communicating well enough. We're not getting to the point. And a lot of times it works. They'll sign it right away. I think they're just trying to get something out of this whole process. Banks, in the past have had a really bad name, right? Especially, 2007, 2008, right? But it's changed now, and I think it's kind of getting back. But there's so many banks out there, everyone's lending is down, right? Default rates are starting to go up.
Mm.
It's a highly competitive market right now. We already talked about, brokers are trying to get more fee, probably because they have less deals. Everyone knows a banker, right? So even if you have a borrower, their aunt or their sister knows a banker, and they get into the mix as well. So on the communication side of things, I think, Andrew and Daniel, it's very effective to do both, right? You've got to be consulting, but you also got to be friendly with them, and you got to, kind of guide them along this
Mhm.
process, right? Because a lot of them are super unfamiliar with it. And, why would they know the process? Because they may have never done it before, right? So I think, one approach is, if you have a really good relationship with your credit team, right? Because we're walking hand in hand in that side of things.
Mhm.
I always try to throw out there, look, credit has looked at this transaction, right? And these are the hot buttons, right? I'm not some renegade BDO just throwing out LOIs like it's going out of style, right? I've actually vetted this transaction. So I'm going to take a
Renegade
little bit more time.
BDO. I love it.
I'm not going to try to be some, somebody just throws out LOIs and throws it against the wall to see what sticks, right? I think you've got to be a little bit more thoughtful in your process, and you've got to leverage your team behind you, right? And I always say I'm going to take a little bit more time on the front end, but we're going to close. Our pull through is going to be 95%, and if it's not, that 5% is going to be a short appraisal. It's going to be something you didn't tell me about on your credit,
Oh yeah.
or the financial reporting, which, by the way, is getting worse and worse that I'm seeing from borrowers.
Uh-oh. Well, I wanted to kind of wrap it up with maybe let's say the last competitive deal that you won. What tipped the scale in your favor for you to win that deal? You guys have no competitive deals. You just won them all. You just got to breeze right through, and they were yours.
What happens with me most of the time, because, we sell our loans, so it's all floating rate, right? So oftentimes
Uh-huh.
what happens is the credit's good enough that they could get a fixed rate deal, maybe from a lender that's not selling in the secondary market, they're holding it. But I think what I sell is efficiency and the time of getting it done, right? Some of these large institutions that get great rates, right? They take forever. So I mean, it's not the kind of the same thing you're talking about. It's that I'll say, hey, here's the LOI. John, sorry, I'm going to go with the XYZ lender. I'm like, great. When they fumble, call me back. So it's a lot of
Mm.
it's letting them, go into the blue unknown and then coming back, right? On competitive deals, I mean,
Yeah.
I think you just got to sell like execution. Really, that's what you got to sell oftentimes.
To kind of piggyback on what John said, on a deal where it gets super competitive, I just give up. I just go somewhere else. I have way too many deals I'm
Really?
working. No, 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 this actually works. It's almost like reverse psychology, because, like, hey, you know what? I've got this many number of deals in my pipeline where I don't need it. Just go somewhere. I don't need the headache, right? I don't have to sit there and worry about, oh, what about a quarter point here? What about I don't need to worry about that, right? Now that kind of tells them that, man, you're a busy person and you're getting deals done, right? So why would you want to work
Yeah.
with somebody, who, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I'm just too busy for your deals. So just take it somewhere else, and they always end up coming back for the most part, and that works for
Well,
me.
Yeah.
that segues with your having them as a friend thing, right? So,
Yeah.
strategy. So they're like, oh, now my friend's
Dude,
mad at me. I got to go with them now.
no, no, this is, and I tell them, yo, dude, look, bro, like, just go with them. I'm good. I'm not mad at you. Just go, and they
Yeah.
always, for the most part, they just end up coming back. it's almost like when you're dating somebody, right? If you tell a girl that you like them, yeah, they'll run away, right? But if you,
Sometimes
yeah,
I've seen it work too. But my last competitive deal that I had, they had 3 LOIs out. Basically, what I did was I was the first one to meet them in person. So I had a broker arrange a meeting at their office. I took the application and I explained the deal to them. Hey, I know you have lots of experience. You guys have good credit, very little debt, but this is a startup. And these are what you need to look for. And these are what people are going to ask you. I'm going to ask the questions now and get it over with to make sure that the deal gets done and we don't have any back and forth on the price, you know? And that sold the deal. He thanked me later, bought me a drink and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I think being out there really helps, in my opinion.
Yeah. Face-to-face meetings are the best. I mean, they will, that will secure you the deal because, I think, this digital age and this AI age, right? And a lot of the texting and, post-COVID, COVID obviously couldn't meet with people, right? I think people really appreciate when you meet with them now. And I think people need it, right? They need the social interaction a little bit more than, because they've been dormant on that side. So I agree. I mean, meeting in person is the best. I mean, obviously we do deals nationwide, so sometimes that's not available unless it's a larger deal, which, it kind of makes worth everyone's time to do so. It's super competitive out there. I mean, Daniel, Andrew, we talk about this stuff all the time, right?
yeah,
It's very competitive out there. So you got to set yourself aside and from everyone else, right? And a lot of these banks or non-bank 7A lenders, they're acting as brokers, a lot of them, right? And it's challenging in that environment, right? To work with borrowers that are getting pulled 3 different ways, so.
Yeah, I definitely agree with, face to face, shaking hands, eye contact. Do we vibe in person? Like, and this is a lot of money. It's not like, they're taking out a car loan. They're starting an entire business that we
Yeah.
want to see fruitful and successful. And it's like, I think a lot of that interaction, person to person, is just very underrated. It's exciting that I like that you guys actually go get to meet your borrowers because there's on our side at my lender,
hmm
we're everywhere. We don't really do that often. And
right.
so I would like to see more of that because I think getting back to the basics is what we all need, especially when you referencing, post COVID, and we kind of lost sight of that. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I think the chances of getting a referral from that client when you meet face to face is so much higher when you meet in person, right? They're like,
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
agree.
tell everyone, you know what I mean? I'm gonna I'm gonna send you referrals because now I met you. I feel like we have more of a
Right.
relationship than just
Yeah,
email or on the phone or Zoom call, right? And referrals are the best business, by far the best business out there, right? When you have business owners, proponents of your business and your bank, there's nothing better out there, to be honest with you.
Well, no, and the best part is it's like you just funded a borrower's loan, and then they're out having drinks with their friends, and they're excited, and they're like, "Oh my God, you
right.
got to use John. He's great. He's wonderful. He was so great." And all of their friends, obviously, if the likelihood of them surrounding themselves with other business owners as well, or people looking to start a business or expand or buy or franchise, is pretty great because you kind of surround yourself with like who you want to be. So to get that referral source from direct, word of mouth is unmatched, completely unmatched, especially after that things went so well. So that's awesome. Thank you for the conversation, guys. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I love
welcome.
that we're on the same page. John, I'm glad you made it back. I know you
yeah,
had some
that
technical
was weird.
difficulties, but even though you were making fun of Daniel's phone
I know that's
before,
right. Hey,
but then
Ugh,
the the trusty dusty
jeez.
iPhone kept Daniel in
that's right.
business, but here you
iPhone five,
go
Yeah.
with
baby.
your iPhone 5.
I'm guessing that's Daniel. I
That's
can't really
awesome.
tell. I can't really tell by the picture, but I think that's Daniel.
It's an Android.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's an
He's
Android.
been playing everybody. It's an Android this whole time. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening in. If you have topics or suggestions, go ahead and shoot those over to the BDO Show at rfsba.com, and we will see you next time. Thank you.